Hi everyone. We want to discuss about mathematics of finance. Mathematics of finance. So before we go on, let's first understand the meaning of time value of money. Time value of money. What is time value of money? Time value of money. Financial decisions recognize that money has value over time. Money has value over time. Time value of money means that an amount of money now has a greater value than the same amount in the future. That is, the amount of money you have now will have greater value in the future than what you are having presently. So this idea is based on the fact that if you have 100 naira now, you can make it work for you so that you will get more than 100 naira in the future. Let's look at lenders. Lenders of money would also want to be compensated financially for foregoing present consumption. The amount they receive from giving up present consumption is known as interest income. The amount that the lenders of money we get for foregoing their present consumption is called interest income. So let's look at interest expense. We have interest income. That one is meant for lender. The interest expense. This one is meant for borrower. So let's look at it. You pay money for buying commodities such as food, clothes, for watching football or movie. Interest expense is the price one pays for getting or obtaining money or loan in the financial markets. Understood? So you can see the difference between interest income and interest expense. Now, we've explained the time value of money. We said time value of money means that an amount of money now has a greater value than the same amount in the future. So let's look at example. You said if you have 1,000 naira now, you can make it work for you so that you will get more than 1,000 in the future. So that's an example. So we want to look at how simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest and compound interest. We've explained the difference between the interest income and interest expense. Say interest expense can also be called borrowing cost. So let's look at it. Simple interest, where interest is being charged on the principal alone for the time. Let's look at it in this way. Simple interest, you can say simple interest, where interest is being charged on the principal alone for the relevant period. For the relevant period, that is, interest will be charged on the principal alone for the relevant period, is different from compound interest. But compound interest is charged and added to the principal from period to period. Both principal and the interest forming the basis of the next period interest calculation. So we want to look at simple interest. So we look at compound interest later. This is let's put it here. Let's use another paper for it. Before we solve the question, we have a question on simple interests here. So we will solve the question here. This is simple interests. Simple interests. This is simple interests. Now we say simple interests. You said I want to solve a question on it. Where interest is being charged on the principal alone for the relevant period. This is called simple interest. So here is a question. We want to solve a question on simple interest. And before we proceed, what is the formula for calculating or solving a simple interest? So we say simple interest is equal to principal times time times rate over 100. There are two methods of solving this. We will look at the two methods now. So where SI is the simple interest, our P is represented by the principal. That is, the principal is the initial amount of money invested. That is the initial capital invested. Our T is represented by the time. That is the number of years, number of months, etc. Then our R is represented by the rate. That is the rate of interest. Rate of interest. So let's solve this question before we look at another way of solving it. So let's look at the question. Mr. Ajasko was disabled in an accident. He left the army with a one-off gratuity of 5 million naira. He intends to invest it at 10% per annum for 5 years. So we are required calculate the simple interest he is going to get. That's A. Then B, calculate the terminal value of the simple interest. So let's calculate the simple interest first. And don't forget, the terminal value of the simple interest is the future value of the simple interest. That is the total amount, or the total amount that Mr. Ajasko is going to get at the end of the whole investment. So solution now. Solution. So our principal here, what is our principal? Our principal is 5 million. The amount, this is the amount of the gratuity is going to get. You can say our principal we represented is 5 million. We write it out. 5 million. Okay. Then our time is our principal we've written it. Then our time here, let's see, is per annum for 5 years. So our time is 5 years. Then our rate here is at what percentage, at what interest, rate of interest. He intends to invest it at 10% per annum. So our rate is 10%. So A, now we want to solve the question. A, say calculate the simple interest he is going to get. And what is the formula for calculating simple interest? Say simple interest is principal times time times rate over 100. So we say simple interest now. Simple interest is equal to, what is the principal here? Our principal is 5 million. 5 million naira. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 times time. The time. So what's the time? 5 years. And what is the rate? The rate is 10. You can say 10. If you say 10, that means that we now put it over 100. If you say 10. So let's solve this. Because we say 10, that's why we say the 10, then the 100 is this. So let's multiply. 5 million times 5 million times 5 times 10 is equal to 250 million divided by 100 is equal to 2,500,000 So our simple interest is 2,500,000. 2,500,000. So the next one now, it said B, calculate the terminal value of the simple interest. That is the total amount Mr. Ajasco is going to receive at the end of the whole investment. That's what we want to calculate now. And how do we calculate that one? We say the simple interest plus the principal. So let's say the formula for calculating the terminal value, B, terminal value of the simple interest is equal to principal plus simple interest. The principal plus simple interest. And what is our principal? Our principal is how much? 5 million naira. And what is our simple interest? The simple interest we calculated is 2,500,000 plus 2,500,000. So our terminal value of the simple interest is equal to 7,500,000. 7,500,000 is our terminal value, and this terminal value is also the same. It's also the same as future value, the future value of the investments, the future value of investment. So this is how to calculate simple interest. So let's look at another method of calculating simple interest. The simple interest, but this terminal value still remains. So let's quickly look at another way of calculating the simple interest. Let's say we want to answer question A again. Question A. So we can say another method for calculating simple interest. Simple interest is equal to principal times time times rate. This rate we need to divide the 10 by 100 to get the rate here. That means that we will not include the 100. We will not divide PTR by 100 again. So let's look at it in this way. We understand better by the time we substitute our figures in this letters now. So the principal, which is 5 million, principal 5 million, and the time, what is the time? 5 years times 5 times, then the rate now. In our example here, we said 10. We use 10 over 100. 10 over 100, that is 10%. This 10 over 100 here. So if we divide this 10 by 100 straight, that means that this 100 will no longer be in the formula again. So let's look at it. This 10 divided by 100. 10 divided by 100. If we use our calculator, we are going to get 0.1. Let's say 10 divided by 100 is equal to 0.1. So we got 0.1. So we will not divide this formula again by 100. So we can just multiply and get our answer straight away. So 5 million times 5 times 0.1 is equal to 2,500,000. Can we see that we got the same answer for the simple interest? The simple interest we got here is 2,500,000. This is the simple interest, 2,500,000. So we got the same thing, 2,500,000. Can we see it now? So that's how to use the second formula. So which one will you prefer now? Which one will you prefer, and which one will you prefer to use? Which one will you prefer to use? Don't forget, you use 10 here over 100. The whole or figures over 100, 10%, this is 10, then the percentage, which is 100, is here. Here, we divided the 10 by 100, so we got 0.1. So no more division of, no more denominator of 100 here. You can see we don't have denominator of 100. So that's how the simple interest is calculated. So very, very simple and direct. Very, very simple and direct. Here is the question. Here is the question once again. Here is the question, and here is the solution. Here is the solution. The another method for calculating simple interest is this. So in our next class, we'll be looking at compound interests. So watch out for the next video on compound interest, how compound interest is being calculated. The formula for calculating compound interest is different from the formula for calculating simple interests. Thank you.